Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the SU-8, it's the Tier 6 Soviet SPG. This one's located on the south spawn of Redshire and it's under the command of Sleeper 1950. Okay, game underway. And this particular SU-8 is sporting the skin that Jazz made for us. Unfortunately, sadly, she's no longer with us because unfortunately she died this week. But we will remember her every time we play these tanks because of the marvellous skins that she supplied. They are absolutely superb. This one has got our logo on as well. Well, the SU-8 was designed and based on the T-28, the medium tank, but unfortunately never got built because the T-28 production line was shut down by the Soviets during the 1930s. It was going to be produced at the Kirov plant in Leningrad as well, which may have caused a problem because obviously, as you know, the Kirov, or rather Leningrad, and the Kirov plant were both actually under siege by the Germans during the war. I'm trying to adjust the view there because it seems he's viewing the target very, very close. He's aimed at the other end of the map and he's looking for any disturbances in the rock fences because that were the rock walls. Oh, there you go. And that means an Arty is in there. Unfortunately, we saw the rock wall go down on the other side, so it looks like there is an Arty in that corner. Okay, in the meanwhile, we are now looking at the T-3485 about to enter the castle. That's out. That landed right in front of that T-3485, and he then took another round. So we got some stun assist. I think it was the P-43 that actually got the shot in. Oh, now we know something new. The tank that actually went through the wall was actually this, the FE-3201 or A45, which is a tank very much like the Chieftain, the Centurion in its design. He fired around in where he thinks it is. Unfortunately, he didn't get any hits there. He can hear destruction. I think actually the FE-201 has moved down near the houses, just slightly to the south, because I could hear some destruction going on. There you go. You see he's gone through the fence edges. And there, oh, there's a VK3002D there as well. Okay, there's the FE-201. He did move through that area. So we've got two tanks that we can fire at now. Rounds out. Unfortunately, that shell didn't hit the target, and I think there was an obstruction in between, and I think it might have been that wall. When you've got a partial reticule, it normally means there's some obstruction in the way, and I think this wall was actually acting as an obstruction, and the shell may have impacted on that. Rounds out on the FE-201, just lands in front of him, but doesn't do any damage or stun. But the 201 is now down and we're looking around for new targets. Okay, he's found another target. It's a T-34-100, the constructor. It's a Czech tank actually. And a direct hit. 198 off that one. And that constructor is now dead. And there's the enemy Arty, or at least it's one of them, the GW Tiger P. And he's almost about ready to fire. Rounds out, and the target blows up before his shell arrives. And it looks like the enemy are being thoroughly harassed. That SU-100, oh, he's gone, Amaract. And there's a Tiger 2. And he just killed our IS-3, but Sleeper gets a hit, 233. He's tracked the guy. He's not going anywhere until he's fixed that. Getting ready to shoot another one in. That's out. Well, oh, he got the kill! He splashed the Tiger 2 with that shot. I thought that his was the first explosion, but that may have been from the M44 and his own team. The current position he's in makes it difficult to shoot at those tanks just outside the castle. Fires at T20 and it hits the wreck. He's dialing in on the T20's position. It's going to give him another go. It's a fairly fast reload. And the T20's down. Now he's going after the Baguette Panther. Or Britann Panther as Wargaming like to call it, but it's actually a Baguette. And a direct hit for 277. Tracks the guy. Holds him in place. And there's the kill shot. So he picks up the damage assist there. And that batch at 12 tons not going to last not long if he keeps doing that. But he did get a kill before. And oh, narrowly missed the shell from Sleeper. Enemy M44 has been taken out. Now we've got a Tiger 131. We're dialing in on this position. Almost ready to shoot. Rounds out. Direct hit. 237. There's lots of explosions going on around here. Only 3 enemies left. And the Tiger 131 is almost disconnected. He's not really taking part. I think he's almost given up. Another hit makes him a one-shot. And there you go, he's out the game. Over here we've got the T28 prototype. And he just got hit by some splash. Sleeper fires one in and just behind him. Oh no, Sleeper's just been hit by a round from the Batchat, who's come all the way south, being chased by a Link 6x6. And Sleeper's staying where he is. And the T28 prototype is the last enemy tank. The Batchat was taken out by the Lynx, and the T28 prototype dies to the T29. So that game is over with a victory. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats after the second replay. In the second replay, we've got Wazwulf from REBRN in the SU-8. North spawn of Cliff. Game started. Okay, he's headed over to the conventional position, which is in amongst the bushes at the north side of the cap. Now, there are some spots in here where you can get decent shots at the enemy, and he's knocked a few trees down, but hopefully those won't go noticed by the enemy team. Okay, he's aiming towards the rise up to the donut on the western pass. There's normally somebody will come running up there. And enemy tanks have appeared in the centre. Now that's where I normally aim, because there's always some person who's brave enough to think that they can get up to the top of the hill. And it looks like it's a VK2801. And let's see if Wazwulf gets a shot. Well, it landed near the path, but I think that the VK was still behind the rocks at the time, because those fence posts haven't been knocked over. Okay, in the meanwhile, we've got a Tiger 131, a heavy tank number 6, and an A43. Well, the first two are actual Tigers. Even though it's a heavy tank number 6, it was basically a Tiger. The ones that were exported to Japan, or rather not, because they were paid for by Japan, but they never got sent out there. That's out. I suppose the one thing you can say is that at least the Japanese did get the plans to the tank, even if they didn't actually get the tanks that they paid for as such. They had the plans, but they just couldn't build them. Lack of heavy steel in Japan, because most of it was being used to build ships. And for an island race, that's really highest priority. It would have been interesting if they did have Tiger tanks in Japan, and that's a nice bit of splash, but only 6 hit points. Yes, because I think the Americans would have had a great deal of trouble with Tiger tanks in use by the Japanese, because most of the tanks that the Americans were using were fairly light. They were either M4s or other tanks with fairly light armour, and if they come up against a Tiger, I think they would have taken a lot of losses. He's waiting for the reload to complete. It's a relatively quick reload, 17.39 seconds. Shell fell short. The normal reload is 19.65 seconds, so he's managed to reduce it by 2 seconds. Just needs to get a shot onto the Hellcat. Go, fires one in. Oh, and it falls short again. A little bit closer to the Hellcat, but not close enough to do some damage. Again, it falls short. Something's not going right with his aim there. I think he needs to adjust his aim a little bit further. He's holding it on the Hellcat, but every shell seems to be falling short, which means he's probably not adjusted it correctly. This looks better, but it lands just behind the Hellcat this time. And the Hellcat's come up onto the donut. We can't see him anymore. Our T-150 is moving along to the donut, so he might get sight of him very shortly. There he is. In fact, actually, he's gone to the cliff edge. That's up. Oh, and it flies over the Hellcat. Then this guy must be the luckiest Hellcat driver around, because he's avoided a lot of damage, and he finally gets wiped out by the T-150. Okay, VK2801. No, that was well off, I'm afraid. Looks like that guy's headed for the house. There's a bunch of houses around there where he can hide. Yes, he's actually gone to the house. Okay, we're looking at the KV-1S in the Western Pass. No, it hits the rock. This is one of the spots that when you're firing at it, it helps to be down in the Western Pass, and that was the shell from the M44 who's down there as well. He can fire the round straight in. That one went too long and zipped past the KV-1S, exploding harmlessly behind, and the heavy tank number 6 on our team gets the kill shot. So still no kills for Wazwulf, but it's still early doors in the battle. There's still 8 enemy tanks out there. That's a very badly damaged T-150. Here's that VK2801 again. Now he's some distance away. It's a 2.2 second delay between the shell being fired and hitting that spot. We're looking for the enemy Arty. There are 3 of them in total. There's a Hummel and 2 M44s. Well, stripped M4257. Can't get a shot because he's behind the rock. The enemy team does have 2 tank destroyers, both T-78s, and they're both good players, so I suspect that they'll probably be up in the sniping nest up at K5, and it might be worth his while firing around up there. In fact, other people are already mentioning that. Instead, he's doing the counter battery on the enemy Arty. Let's see if there's any sign of them. Oh, he got one! He got one. He got the M44. Well, that's one of them down. Now, have we seen any traces? The trick here is actually to press the V key, and then you can see the traces much more clearly when they fire. Stands out like a sore thumb when you use the V key. Okay, is that an enemy Arty? Yes, it is. Rounds out. Lands just in front of him. Unfortunately, now he's aware he's being fired at. He'll probably move. He's still there. And now he's out the game. So no counter battery for Wazwulf. I think that's one of the reasons why I don't favour this position really for playing in the game, is that it does actually hinder you from certain angles of shooting at the enemy. That's why most people go down to the Western Pass area, because it does allow you many more angles to get shots in. In the meantime, Wazwulf is going around the hill, and I think he's going to try and skirt round the cliff and get to another position so he can shoot on the enemy from a different angle. There's only 4 enemies left, but still those T-78s and of course the Striv M4257. Yep, the other Arty are now starting to focus on the sniper nest. Wazwulf's still in transit at the moment, but he probably pop a shot into the enemy now, and I think he might be moving as well, so he can get a shot on the Striv, but he doesn't need to anymore because the Striv is gone. So he needs to set up somewhere around about here and start shooting at that hill. Yes, there's the T-78. He doesn't want to be seen by these guys if he can help it. He might be within their view range. Okay, so he's got perfect shot with him now. Lands short, but it does get some damage on one of them. I think one of them's still up there, even though the other one's come down. It's going to fire another round in. That hit the rock face, that one. Give it another go. It's worth it. His flight time now is only 1.3 seconds, so he should be able to react fairly quickly. Yes, there is one up there. They've just killed one of the T-78s. Oh, and that one fell short again. He's getting a lot of short shells. Bad RNG in this game. In fact, I think one of the T-78s that was our one. Their T-78s are still okay and still fighting, actually. In fact, there's one of them right now. He's up against our Bert, who's hiding around the other side of the rock. So it really would be a help if Wazwulf can actually take this guy out, because he's a real big danger to one of our players. When he stuns him, trouble is that might prompt him into moving. The Bert's getting ready just in case. Oh, he's flipped down the side of the cliff. And he crashed at the bottom. The other T-78's moved from his position in the sniper's nest. And he's now hiding behind the rock. There he is. Kill shot! Nice one. That's 2 kills now for Wazwulf. That was well worked out, that one. He gave it just the right amount of lead to hit the target, but he was close enough that he could get a quick reaction shot. There's only one enemy left. It's the Hummel. We don't know where he is, but he just killed our Bert, the FB304. So there's 2 RT versus 1 RT, because all the tanks have been wiped out. And this is where you see Wargaming's going to come a cropper if they do their changes, you see, because if you do that and you get games like this where all of the tanks are wiped out, it's going to be very strange to see how the Arty will be able to kill each other if they get reduced damage. If they've got the wrong shell loaded, they won't be able to take out the enemy, or at least they won't be able to stun it. There's going to be a lot of battles lost because the wrong ammo was loaded. Now he's trying to stay below that hill, or below that ridgeline, because he doesn't want the Hummel to see him as he's approaching. He's still banking on the enemy Hummel being in this corner near the cap, and it's very likely that he is. So he's trying to get as close as he can without being spotted. And he's actually in the cap now and capping. Now there's a reasonable chance that Hummel is going to respond. Question is, who's going to be quick enough to get the second shot in if it doesn't kill him outright? He's only got 1 round of ammunition left, so he has to get it right first time. You only get 26 rounds of ammunition in the SU-8, so you can run out of ammo. But he's down to just 1 round, so he has to kill the Hummel with 1 shot, or the M44 is going to have to do it. If he fails on this shot, he's going to have to run as quickly as he can, because that Hummel may have another round spare. The others are saying to the M44 to move. There's the 2-minute warning. And the Hummel wasn't there, but he was there. Oh, brilliant shot! Last round kill on the Hummel. Shotguns him at close range and wins the game by Wazwulf. Very well done indeed. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats for both games. Well, here's the end of battle results in the first game. Sleeper 1950 managed to get an ace tanker in the SU-8 in his game on Redshire. He also got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He managed to get 8, and he got a reasonable amount of damage, but he didn't get the high caliber. No, that went to somebody else. In fact, it was the T-3485M on his team who got 3,042 hit points, and he picked up a high caliber and a Confederate. The next high scorer was the T-28 prototype, the last one killed at the end of the game. 2,930 hit points of damage went to him. And after that, it was the T-29 on his own team, Sleeper 1950's own team, 1,681 hit points of damage. Sleeper managed to get 1,425, so it wasn't bad, but he's, well, he had 3 people ahead of him on his own team and 1 on the enemy team, so that puts him in 5th place. When it came to kills, he actually managed to get 1 kill in the entire game, but the high scorer was the VK3002D, who got 4 kills, followed by the ISU-152K with 3. The T-28 prototype and the Batchap Rask also, it was a Batchap 12 tons, sorry, managed to get 2 kills, as well as the T-29. He was very lucky not to be killed by that Batchap, but he was being chased by our Lynx 6x6 towards the end of the game. And thank goodness that that guy actually was chasing him, because if he hadn't chased him and killed him, then I think that he would have got Sleeper, because he did spot Sleeper and fired around at him. When it came to base XP, it was the T-3485M who did the best with 1,277, 1,266 went to the VK3002D, and then we've got Sleeper with 1,121. Those are the only 3 guys who managed to get over 1,000 base. He fired 18 rounds in that game, got 5 direct hits, 11 splash rather, no penetrations at all, sorry. 1,425 hit points of damage, all of it at more than 300 meters. He did receive a hit, it did pen, that was from the Batchat 12 ton. He also managed to get 6 enemy vehicles damaged, 1 killed, and 165 hit points of damage assist, plus 1,628 hit points of stun assist off 9 stuns. And as I've said many times before, if they institute the changes, then the amount of stun damage you'll be doing will be greatly reduced, in which case then you won't be able to earn as much as you would normally do on these battles. 31,452 credits from the game after repair and ammunition resupply took away 15,910 off a free-to-play account. 1,121 base XP times 2 for the first victory, 2,242 experience points altogether. So a nice ace tanker in the SU-8. If the changes that Wargaming are planning to make are brought in, I don't think this would even get near an ace tanker game, I'm afraid, because obviously the standard, the amount of damage would be much, much less, and of course other tanks would be ahead of it. So yes, I know ace tankers is worked on the amount of damage, and it's worked on the basis of other tanks doing exactly the same over the same period. But the thing is that I think the standards are going to change dramatically. You won't be seeing as many medals by Arty players in the future if they bring these changes in. In fact, it'll be a complete and utter mess, because I'm afraid what will happen is a lot of players will leave the game altogether, and Wargaming is going to lose a huge amount of their revenue, which they will find out about shortly after they've brought the changes in, and all of a sudden there's no players anymore. They've all gone away to War Thunder and other games. simply because they're fed up with Wargaming constantly nerfing Arty. Anyway, let's have a look at the second battle. That was the one with Wazwulf in, and he got a second class tanker in that game. Got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits, he got 14. And he got a Faden's medal. He killed that last enemy, the Hummel, with his last round of ammunition, a shotgun right to the face. And that earned him a Faden's medal, because of course you have to kill the last enemy with your last round of in the magazine. And if we look at the team score, we can see that he didn't get the highest damage. No, it's way down with 909 hit points. The highest scorer was that T-78. Yes, those guys were really good actually. 2,476 hit points for him. 2,083 hit points for the T-34-85 on our team. And 2,029 for the M44 on the enemy team. I don't know which one that was. It may have been the one in the bush that Wazwulf killed. Let's have a look. Is it the one? Yes, it was. The one he killed with a counter-battery strike. That was their best M44 player. And he actually did have very good stacks. So Wazwulf did his team a big favour by taking that guy out of the game. Because if he hadn't, he would have got even more damage with his shots, because he appeared to be very accurate. Even though he wasn't actually getting any kills, he was still stripping our team of all their hit points. When it came to kills, it was Wazwulf who did the... Oh, no, sorry, he was actually in second place. The top scorer was the other Arty, the one that was in the corner. He, that was visible, he got 4 kills in the game. 3 kills went to one of the T-78s, the Hummel that Wazwulf killed. And, of course, Wazwulf himself got 3 kills, so did the T-34-85M. When it came to base XP, though, it was the T-34-85M, got the highest with 1,035. Then came Wazwulf with 761. And finally, the FV-304, the Burt, got 726. He fired 26 rounds, all of his ammunition in that game. 3 direct hits, 2 penetrations on the enemy, and 10 splash. Now, I'm pretty certain one of the penetrations was that T-78. But according to this, it's actually saying the Hummel was a pen and the M44 was a pen. So 2 Arty penetrations in that game. 10 splash on the enemy as well. 909 hit points of damage, of which 574 were at more than 300 meters. So you can see a lot of that damage was done at fairly close range. And that might be the T-78 shots that he made, as well as, of course, the Hummel kill right at the end. 1 enemy vehicle was spotted. That was the Hummel. 7 enemy vehicles were damaged, 3 were killed, and he did 558 hit points of stun assist off 9 stuns. And he got 66 capture points while he was sitting in the cap, and I was wondering why that Hummel didn't fire at him, but I thought that maybe he was holding his fire and waiting for it to get to 70 cap points, and then would hit the SU-8 in the cap, hit Wazwulf, and get a reset, which would then give him the Defender medal, and that would increase his credits at the end of the game. But it turned out the Hummel had already made his way towards the Western Pass, and, well, Wazwulf couldn't see him because of the ridgeline. And if Wazwulf had actually carried on using that ridgeline to protect himself from the cap area, he might have actually run into the Hummel, almost, accidentally right into him at the time, and then he might have been able to shotgun him straight away. But as it was, he got a great shotgun on that Hummel as it stood. On a premium count, he earned 20,247 credits, and after a resupply of ammunition, took away 9,311 credits. 761 XP times 2 for the first victory, 2,284 experience points altogether. So actually he said when RNG hates you, and it certainly did, because he was firing round after round at that Hellcat and also at the T-78, and the shells just weren't going anywhere near the target. He was either firing short or he was firing, it just wasn't hitting exactly where he wanted it to go. And really, if you do get that sort of situation where you're trying to hit a target that's in a little dip like that, and you're trying to lob the shell into the dip, it can actually sometimes be a little better, instead of keeping your aim on the target, adjust it slightly to go a bit further away. And maybe if the shell falls short, this time it'll fall short directly into the target. So even if RNG hates you, sometimes you can fool RNG into giving you a hit. So great games. Well done to Wazwulf for last shot kill. That was really good, and it was an excellent shotgun as well. full health Hummel, and he hit him square on, right over a ridgeline. Well, it was over because it was a slight angle when he was firing it in, but it worked perfectly. And also congratulations to Sleeper 1950 for an ace tanker. To be honest, I didn't think he was getting a lot of damage, but it turned out he was getting good damage on the enemy, enough for him to get an ace out of it. So well done. If you enjoyed those two replays, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.